Hey everybody, how y'all doing? I am really coming up in here to see, I feel like this moon in Virgo and this new moon that we're going to have in Scorpio, with the energy going on with Mercury in Scorpio right now at 23 degrees and the sun in Scorpio. And we have so much planetary connection with Jupiter being in the 12th house at nighttime. And it's kind of like the 12th house is Jupiter's home. But so it has Gemini there in the 12th house with it though. So we're going to say, Pisces. But Neptune is in Pisces. So what I'm trying to say is, I'm coming from the side of the energy of your shadow self, your mirror self, and your reality self. I have my Yule towel tied. I haven't used this a whole lot. This is going to be my second time using it. I really want to use it. So I got this deck around the time too, Mystic Palette. I want to really use that. And I have the Shapeshifter Oracle. So with all this energy that's going on, let's go ahead and begin to pull some oracle cards while this moon is in a completion of 322 degrees. Now, Jupiter is also in the 12th house, right? And Neptune is with Pisces. So the two rulers, which Neptune is in Pisces at 27 degrees, 33 seconds. And Jupiter is in Gemini in the 12th house at 20 degrees, 41 seconds. Okay. Now, the ruler, the 12th house is having both rulers up inside of there. Jupiter as the ruler. And as far as Pisces go, it has its connection with Neptune up inside of there. So we have a little bit of conflict within the moon energy that's going to be presenting itself here as we ride into November the 1st with Scorpio. So Mercury is doing a lot of overtime. Now, what I found very interesting, Jupiter does go to Iraq in February 2025. February the 3rd, or it's going to be February the 4th, one of those days. Now, what I find a lot more interesting is the fact I think YouTube is really going to, I think the whole Google platform for our social media, even CERN, going to feel effect from this. Especially, I think they're going to begin to feel the effect around November the 26th when Mercury goes retrograde, and then Mercury goes direct on December the 15th, which is an anniversary date for YouTube also. Coming up to 19 years, and which is going to be a 10. And I think in 2026 it's going to be more prevalent than what it seems to be right now, especially with this moon. So that's just a technical side of how they're going to still experience, like the shadow self to YouTube is Google, right? The mirror self to YouTube will probably be Facebook, right? And the reality self to YouTube would be all the influencers and the contract holders, okay? But we're not going to use YouTube as the whole example. So let's go ahead and get into this card read, okay? Everybody, I hope y'all enjoy the messages that's about to come out. Alright, universe. We get into this new moon energy while these planets is in retrograde at this time. And with our beautiful Pluto in Capricorn again for a little bit, right? And all this Scorpio energy that's going on. Especially the fact that Scorpio sun, the sun is at nighttime anyway, when the new moon is more prevalent. in itself, right? Within, by November the 1st, it would be going, the new moon would be at 5 degrees and 42 seconds around this time in Scorpio, right? So with this energy here, I see a message that you want me to translate about the shadow self, the mirror self, and the reality self. So to begin this, can I get you assistance with having the first oracle card represent the mirror self and help with all the guidance? Fiona and the Unicorn, a gift of sacred sight. You know, when I was up here earlier, I had this thing, you know, I was sitting here talking about in the original videos that I produced, but I destroyed. They're not going to get published. I can't even clip them. And I think it's not meant for me to actually clip them up in here this time. But so I was talking about my soul contracts, right? And how recently, this week right here, one of my soul contracts, I had told, you know, the guy, because he's into a Yoruba type of practice. So, you know, I can't say he didn't help me out in coming into my life and when it come to it, but it's some complications, like he done a generational curse and everything like that. So learning lessons within inside of the universe is like, now I learned mine, now he going through his. Meaning he done his generational curse over 40 years ago. And for it to resurrect for him right now is very difficult, right? But at the same time, when I just told him that I'm out, is no, I done my best to try to understand how to cope with this connection on this level and all this kind of stuff. But I'm out, you know. Now, I have another soulmate, right? We going on a time of an energy around this time last year when I started talking to this one again, right? A long time ago I did a video. And like I've been coming up here about my confessions. Well, this person came around, and in the beginning of 2023 they ended up coming to stay at my house because the relationship that they had going on was going a little wonky and a little crazy. And there was a lot some changes going on in my life. The irony in this is the person he was dating had the same first name as mine and spelled the same. Now, you can spell my first name different ways, but we actually had ours spelled the same, but we come from two different cultures. Now, this person is very paganism in their practices, right? So, when they came to show receipts, they brought this ring and they brought this plaque. So within this relationship dynamic, now he informed me that he had cast a spell on me, but he wouldn't tell me what type of spell it was, and he did tell me that she also was participating with it. Now when he gave me the ring, he was trying to say that he gave it to her, but he didn't know her ring size. But of course he didn't know my ring size because it's only one finger that it would fit on. And I could show these receipts, right? I put in a sacred thing, a sacred dish to protect myself. So that's a little bit, but it's silver. But the ashes that's on it is coming from that. But this is the only finger. It won't, see, it would not fit, okay? Nowhere, okay, nowhere. So, like I said, he brought this. So, within the pagan practice, he felt like this was something of antique. He brought it from an antique store, right? So, sometimes people use spell work of objects and everything to try to break soul ties and And his thing, you know, he trying to prove that he loved this person, and without trying to sit here and make somebody feel uncomfortable on why this, even though me and him have an association, but we consciously aware that we're not going to be together in this lifetime, it still can make other mates feel uncomfortable. So when we talking about, what I'm bringing up is the shadow side. Like my other spiritual one, he has a lot of energy that goes on, but he has a slight little narcissism type of attitude, male chauvinist, narcissistic, spiritual type of pattern of mannerism, right? So just to even bring it in a little bit more, let me read this right here on the card, a little bit about the card. Okay. Unicorns help us choose between what is pure and what is polluted. The unicorn's alicorn, a spiral horn holding the divine ratio and perfect proportion within it. It connects directly to the third eye at this time. Many messages are being drawn directly to your third eye, and so your clairvoyant capacity is growing and opening. So what that's saying is why I am projecting my soulmate contract as an example of the shadow self. And also in representation, the shadow self do usually function within the third eye. So, like Jupiter is in the 12th house in Gemini, right? But in the daytime, Jupiter going to be in another house. It'll probably be in the 5th house around that time, and the sun might be in the 8th or 9th house, at least on the East Coast. Check where your regions is at between the sun and light. Now, because I'm noticing that when I looked in the daytime, the sun was over in, I think it was the 10th house. It was over in the 10th house. So the houses were changing within this switcheroo, meaning that the new moon can have things shift a little bit for us, right? So let's get into this third eye opening from it, right? So for me, there is a sense of this karmic energy, meaning that my pagan soul contract, he didn't come out and tell me. I asked him. We had a conversation. And the only reason we got into the conversation really about the spell work, because before he came to stay here for a little bit, while his situation was going on, he was telling me that after he did the spell, he kept seeing this code. And so the code that he said, I knew it was related to my protection spell, right? So I was like, oh shit, you done activated my protection spell, you know. Now this is all going on in 2023. But why is it important right now? Because with the moon currently being in the 4th house, what I'm trying to say, within our shadow self, maybe some people might have done spell work. Maybe some things is within the generational curse your archive record, like your root chakra really could be going off right now. Some people could be going to the bathroom a lot more frequently. Some people could be feeling, you know, if you celibate and stuff, you could be feeling like somebody intentionally thinking about you. You could be having a nostalgic feeling about different relationships that you have had with family, friends, co-workers. It could be very extremely nostalgic within the shadow self of it. So, and this is what I'm saying is the pagan situation is more nostalgic than the Yoruba situation, right? And I'm going to get to that as we go through the self-actualizations. So in the shadow side of it is it's an energy of how do I feel about it? What harm came to me? And meaning the reason the harm was avoided, or maybe a little bit in the way he wanted to move and the way he wanted to explain the spell, part of the reason he came to my house, like when he was here, he was only here for about a week. And no more than 2 weeks. He was here for 2 weeks. So that's a nice moon cycle right there, 2 weeks too. Because you're talking about going to the waxing or going to the winding side of the moon at the point of time, right? And it's probably something I need to take down a note that could also help me cope. So, being that he was here during a 2-week period of span, I have a grandchild that's here that's under the age. So him and my grandchild, which, they had a conversation about peanut butter. I had some 2-year-old peanut butter that had maybe about this much left up in there stuck in the cabinet. So he decided to come out and tell my younger grandchild that it was okay to eat the peanut butter. It's a survival thing. So when my grandchild brought it to me, he told me he brought it out, stirred it up in front of him and everything. So I was like, well, did he eat it? And he was like, no. So when we had a conversation, because this is our first living experience, right? This is our first, well, no, it's our second living experience. But this is the first more intimate experience where we are now into the conscious realm of our soul contract. All right. So, I had told him in this house, if he's going to be here, adult set examples. So he couldn't find the Google article that told him the information. So I recommended that he eat some of the peanut butter. So as he was eating the peanut butter, and because he's also empathic, he, in the process, he came out and he was like, why do I feel like I'm being punished? So I was like, my empathic side kicked in, and I was like, hold on. If you feeling like you being punished right now in this right time, then whatever you read on Google wasn't true. So he started breaking down, well, I just didn't know. I thought what I read was facts. And I told him, I was like, make a long story short, he ended leaving the next morning. So this is a shadow energy, right? Meaning that he could have still been upset. He could have remorse. He could have a lot of things. Right now, me telling this story might make him want to retaliate. Who never knows? But in the shadow realm of it, it's something I must maintain my integrity on. And once I get to the reality self, hopefully a lot of this will make a little bit more sense. So let me pull out 3 cards. May I have a 3-card message here for the shadow self? What is the message here on the reason why Fiona and the unicorn came out to represent the shadow self? What is the message here? 3-card message. One card came out. Hold on. I need to pick it up. Okay. All right. So like I was saying here, using myself as an example within the shadow self. So we have the Eight of Kings that came up, and we have the World card, right? So the Eight of Kings is like the Eight of Swords. Okay. So when we looking at this from a perspective of saying encouraging words of you're not stuck, there's a way out. That means that this nostalgia feeling of something that happened in 2023 in this contract. Now, when a world card is coming in, that it's the alchemy, meaning I did certain stuff to the ring once I became consciously more aware. It's like once he brought the ring and he left the home and all of this happened, I became more consciously aware, like, oh shit, this shit's serious. Like, why would this be, why would this type of spell work actually be an option when me and you already know? Now, being that we're not speaking at this period of time, because I haven't tried to see whether his phone was working since he left. I haven't tried to really reach out. I really felt, when he first left, I really felt the disconnection. I felt like it was completed. It was done. You know, like the World card could give me that satisfaction, right? The bigger energy I was sitting in within the completion. And so at this point in time, with the Scorpio Sun, the Scorpio Mercury, and this Jupiter that's up in this 12th house with Gemini, Gemini deal with twins. So if we're talking about it from a metaphorical way, right? In the shadow side, this is a connection that no matter what spell work me or him try to do, we have a contract. And at this point in time of this contract, we have a verbal contract that overlaps. That's all in the World card. And not only that, to get to the next two cards, even though I asked for 3, I had 2 more that came out. So I have the Page of Gifts, and I have the Page of Gifts and the 7 of Canes. So the Page of Gifts is like the Page of Pentacles. So right now, it's almost like, say at this intensity of the Scorpionic energy, and him and the young lady did get back together. So they could be going through a situation now where it might be a karmic event. So my shadow side of myself, when it comes to the 7 of Swords, is going to go within the protection, within the spell that's sent. And when I put this ring into a sacred place to protect me, to send, you know, like one of the herbs that sit in is lavender, to send love and blessings, to send security and send reassurance. It doesn't mean that the person that he's in love with, or the person that he decided to prove that he was in love with, so that's why they went through this pagan type of spell to prove their worth, you know, with the Page of Gifts. It doesn't mean that they necessarily want me to be the one to send the love and light. So in the shadow self, it could make them feel like when they look, like he might look and get into his seer point of view with the 12th house with Gemini that's sitting right there, and he go into his space, he be like, oh, I see you lurking, so you around here causing problems. And it's not the fact that I'm literally causing problems. It's just the fact that when things like that 8 of Canes is saying in the World card, when we begin to progress forward, we don't like every nostalgia moment that actually comes and occurs. We have different soul contracts that affect us through our natal chart and everything else. That's why I love astrology. That's why I love doing a lot of this stuff right here. So what I'm bringing down is the different examples of the effects, the deep examples of the effects of nostalgia. And when it is talking about a gift of the sacred side, and when we talking about the third eye opening. Now, if somebody is opening their third eye to see who's coming against me, and if, you know, the most thing that could work right now, if he have a flashback of what he did with my grandchild in the midst of him trying to attack, it might give him something to think about. Because really, with the type of spell work, pagan spell work that he had, you know, in pagans, some of their practice and their morality works around no harm to come to none. So in order for this process of him experimenting on how to detach, the peanut butter episode was part of the morality that comes in paganism that actually took place. So until he comes to that conscious awareness, which his third eye could be opening up to him to understand the morality and the sacred passageway within inside of his own practices. While me, I'm into doing tarot and up here talking about practices. Okay, this is the shadow part of it. And Virgo, you know, Virgo is with the moon right now. So, and with Mercury and Scorpio, we got a lot of thinking, fast moving thinking, and we got some seductive and we got some strategic thinking that's going on here. All right. So, the shadow card for the shadow self here is Judgment, the list. So you understand what I mean about, that's where the Gemini and Jupiter is coming in, where it's more dominant. It's evaluating and judgment. It's something where the world card, like Jupiter is also representing the world card up in here. Now, in the shadow side, it's telling you what it's doing within the world card. It's providing judgment. So at this point in time, what is my judgment going to be? I only can hope that he rectified through the harm, that he understand that I have not harmed neither. And due to our connection, it made me study paganism and understand their loyalties too, which is binding. You know, I have to place that judgment in the proper place myself. So now let's get into the mirror side, right? Let's get an oracle card for the mirror side. Alright, now I have an oracle card for the mirror side with this moon energy. So we got, let's look at the Libra side of the moon. Because see, Virgo goes to Libra and then it's going to Scorpio, right? So let's look at it from a Libra side as the mirror, right? Because we're talking about swords. Swords is a very reflective type of metal, right? So let's look at it from that point. So we have dragonfly mermaid. You're attractive. You attracted wonderful news. Okay? See that? So let's read this and get a little gist of why this card was selected. And this is number 19. 19 years for y'all YouTube, ain't it? Dragonfly mermaid is coming forward to be with you for a time. She will show you what colors and what moves will be best for you at present. In doing so, you can make a change that all can see, and that will all make you very attracted to something that will come to a surprise. You will send out a message to the universe, and the good fortune that has been looking for a home will be drawn to you by matching the energy of that which you attract. Okay? So when we talking about this Mercury retrograde that's coming up also in November, and we have Mercury retrograde is going to be in Sagittarius, I believe it is. So this third eye opening that's going on right now might bring you to the point of this Mercury retrograde where it's going to be very important, especially when it's talking about attracting to the universe. So depending on how your shadow side is in it, how your shadow side, what is this shadow influence that is going on during the moon phases right now, right? Because that Mercury retrograde and that Jupiter switching from day to night in the houses, right? It's going to count a lot for these holidays. This holiday season going to be a lot different. So let's go ahead and get a 3-card message here to go a little bit more into this example, right? Of the mirror self. Because, you know, when they're going into Libra, Libra is a very contracting zodiac energy. Now, Venus is, if I'm not mistaken, Venus is where? In Sagittarius, it's self, right? So that's going to count a whole lot too, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Venus is in Sagittarius at 13 degrees. So the moon will be going to Sagittarius after it leaves Scorpio during the new moon. And I see is a very strong energy, right? So when we're talking about this Libra energy, which the Libra have Lilith, and it has the South Node that's up inside of here, your mirror self from off of whatever the shadow self is, your shadow self could be functioning at a point in time to have you grasping for opportunities. It could be weird, especially with Mercury being in Scorpio right now. It could be weird things and weird people. Like me, what I have been experiencing lately, I have been experiencing a lot of kids popping up and walking up to me going, hey, come on, how you doing? And I mean little kids. I mean from like maybe 3 years old all the way to like 7. I mean little kids. So within the mirror self, I know I watch a lot of cartoons. I know I see a lot of that. So within the mirror self, those little kids could be asking me, especially with my age coming up, how much joy do you want? How much love do you have? Look at these kids. They loving their self without them even defining self. They growing every single day to define what self is. And they loving their self without the true definition of loving their self. And that's where you attract wonderful news. Your energy that you put out within that connection. So whichever way your shadow self, like me personally, I'm going to still love myself. I'm not going to let the insecurities of a shadow side situation make me feel guilty or remorse like I want somebody in my life just because it's a soul contract. And why I'm saying that is because I could feel that vibration while this is in Virgo. So in the sense of keeping myself aligned while this Jupiter part, because see, Jupiter up in the 12th house will do the psychedelic part of it, right? Where my third eye would be opening on my shadow self and make me come questioning me through my celibate role. Am I bitter? Am I feminist? So it comes in, and when you begin to take it and analyze it within the third eye mode, it started breaking down for me in a mathematical format that leads me all the way to the connection that the shadow is being involved in. So when we're talking about the mirror self, your shadow side is part of the mirror reflection. But you have to understand whether that shadow side is a healed side or it's a side that needs to be healed. And what is that shadow side? Is it a warrior? Is it a fighter? Is it a lover? What is the shadow energy event? Make sure you define all of that with it. Okay? So, may I have a two-card message here for Dragonfly Mermaid? I want to save some of my battery life, so I'm going to limit some of the cards if they allow me to. May I have a two-card message about this story within the Dragonfly Mermaid? When it comes to the mirror self. One more card, please. So yes, that's what I'm saying. When I came out and I talk about the shadow side and the residue effect of how your shadow side is moving, where is you at within your shadow side? Some people could be more determined and more focused on different things. But wherever it's at, here's the Emperor. So we got major arcana energy within the mirror effect. So we talking about your sacral chakra being activated a whole lot. We're talking about your sacral chakra and your solar plex. My solar plex been going off all day today. But your solar plex chakra could definitely be going off. There needs to be something to put that light. Okay? You see that moon reflection right there? You see that light that the Emperor have? You need to be something. Your solar plex is that pole within that Emperor that's right there, right? It's right there. And you got the High Priestess, your shadow self. Your shadow self is far from beyond. Don't take your shadow self as not being a helpmate, as something that's there to help you along on your journey. Just because you're in your mirror phase of it, don't call your shadow self negative. Your shadow self, for example, say that you have prayed. Just say, we're going to just go into basic. You prayed, you meditated. Maybe you didn't use no herbs, and maybe you did use herbs. Maybe you done went out and put salt at your door or black pepper at your door. So when we engage into those things, that's what's in our shadow realm. So just because, like, I was breaking down the event that they going through something right now, is this energy. For some reason, the universe within the Jupiter manipulation within Gemini find in our alignment within our charts, it finds that this information or this distraction is important right now for my shadow self. Okay? And for my shadow self to maintain the conscious mind of myself as I focus through the days, it puts this example here. But it doesn't mean because it's saying remorse and all of this that my shadow side is negative. Your shadow side, I look at it from the point of view of my shadow side saying, are you sure with you being celibate, that you wouldn't be jealous of them? This is like going back to, like, if the strength card was here, how do you re-strengthen yourself through a maze of something that's karmatic, something that already happened, something that the universe is placing in a judgment on, okay? Especially when I know that it's coming from their side of breaking their morality law within the pagan practice. See, the universe gives us all our different practicing techniques. And what we practice, we must remember, because sometimes our karma is within our own practices. So, there we go. See, we have the Lovers card as the shadow card. Don't forget the union you have with yourself. Don't just say these negative thoughts. These thoughts have a reason within that judgment status, which was the shadow card for the shadow self. So now let's get into the reality self. Okay? Alright, may I have one oracle card for the shadow, for the reality self? One oracle card for the reality self. One oracle card for the reality self. And this will be it for the night. In this message, let's close it out with the reality self. Let's tie it all in together. We have the Golden Phoenix. Alright, and that reads, something you thought finished burst back into life. So, that's what I'm saying. It's bringing me all the way to the forefront. Yes. When I felt like I said, I felt a burst of completion. It's not about attracting the same energy. Sometimes we have soul ties with people for many reasons. Certain things that we did and we hurt people. Sometimes whatever decision we make and the connection that we have with nature, that teach us many and different lessons. So in my reality self, it's some little wonky stuff that's going on. I can honestly admit that I get a little bit of frustrated. Let's read a little bit of this too. Alright. And this number is the number 12. And the first one was a number 29. That breaks down to a mastery number. So we have number 12. Number 12. You are transforming both internal and external. That's where you got the shadow self and you got the mirror self. Internal and external, right? And this change is blessed, divine, and guided by your golden phoenix guardian. Talk to your golden phoenix at sunrise. And know that you do so. And know that as you do so, your golden phoenix is recharging your chakras. Now, I already was talking about the solar plexus chakra and the sacral chakra, right? And your aura, and thus your experience, your thoughts, and your reality. You are loved by the golden phoenix. And as you honor her with your transformation, she honors you with this marvelous gift of regeneration. The rise to be born again. And that's where me, at the time of knowing in this challenges, like in the real reality self, my heart is always open to whatever relationship. At least I talk to my golden phoenix at that point in time. I know that my spirituality is very important for me, and it will not be disrespected just for a love of my life or for companionship, because I have companionship. So this will be a reality thing that will only be getting satisfied. My flesh and my soul is already content in companionship with my ancestors, my spirit guides, and whatever else name that need to be called for it. So, living life, I don't know how all of this is going to go for me. And that's where my golden phoenix is at. So knowing that at the same time, knowing that I have a door open for love, depending on her role inside of the spell work, she could be feeling the energy of my intimidation. Because we're talking about a morality that's going through a transformation stage with the use of Scorpio and the sun and Mercury and Scorpio and the moon. Now, by the time the new moon come around, it's in Scorpio. So we have a new moon in Scorpio while Jupiter's still in retrograde and Pluto going direct. So our stories of our past life, meaning that she could have been some unfinished karma for him. She could have been one of those ones that he had another life. If I got more than one, he could have more than one. And maybe when he did what he did, he could have affected the contract, especially with us both having the same spelling of the name. So sound counts a whole lot when we doing things, the words that we use. It's a vibrational thing that goes across. So in the reality self, because I don't know everything, I'm not going to take accountability for energy that is just being judged. I'm going to stay with inside of myself, where it says something you thought was finished burst back into your life. But it doesn't mean that it's not transforming because it came with the phoenix. So what is the message here with the golden phoenix? May I have 2 cards for the message for the golden phoenix? And yeah, maybe another reason why I'm sitting here shuffling these cards, my Yoruba soul contract. Maybe when I just sat here and just told him, like, I'm done. Like, I've been pacifying this situation here just because of the universe. I'm done pacifying. It's time to match our energy. So the mirror self inside of me is matching with another soul contract. So on the shadow side, my shadow side of all of this when it comes to seeing the 7 of Swords, right? It could be rejuvenating when we talk about the golden phoenix and the reality of it, right? The reality self. My shadow side is using that energy from a spell work to give me the strength to break this next 2 in a chapter in this soul contract that I have going on that I did this week with my other soul contract. So it's very tedious in the making of the shadow self and the mirror self and the reality self, as you can see if you can understand in my explanations. So when it's coming back up, it's the point that the rejuvenation, the Scorpio, the transformative, and the ability with Virgo being there and in that energy at this present time with the moon going into a new moon is very methodical, strategic to benefit me and my goals. It's not a lot of work or effort I have to do, but maintain my loving essence, my energy within. Keep it right, keep it pure, keep it focused. And that's the same thing for anybody else. Keep it right, keep it focused. So I don't want to be with that one. We had options on whether we could, but at the same time, my options was limited to a design. A design that came if I walked through that door. One way or another, I would have been molded into this feminine energy of his desire. So I chose not to walk through that door. Okay? And that was my option to deal with this relationship. And I didn't want it. So over time, I understood why I had that availability as an option. And I appreciate it. May I have a 2-card message for Golden Phoenix? One more card. I like this card right here. It's sweet. This one flew out. So we have the 6 of Kings and we had a 5 of Gifts. So like I said, when it comes to your reality self, when it's talking about right here, the 6 of Kings, it transformed a spell that was used by one of my soul contracts. Okay. It used the spell with the 7 of Swords, 6 of Swords is telling you forward movement, right? Another soul contract. As you can see, this family dynamic right here, right? It used the energy of another soul contract, which could be disrupting their contract. But at the same time, the reason it's disrupting is because of this 5 of Pentacles that's here, right? Because the 5 of Pentacles is using this energy for another soul contract to be left alone. It's time to close this chapter. This chapter is ending. Okay? It's something about to begin. It's a new beginning that's coming in. And with the usher of this revelation that's going on in Earth and the dynamic of the current energies, by the time we get to Scorpio, Scorpio is a great transformative energy. So probably when the new moon comes, I'm either going to feel a whole lot better or I'm going to feel the cries and the true moment, the true heart attention of my Yoruba soulmate. I already know my true heart attention of my pagan soul contract. Now, I don't really honestly know my true heart attention of my Yoruba soul contract. So probably when this new moon come around for me, I'm going to feel a whole vibration of their true attentions. And I must keep myself together. Because being that it's going to be an emotional new moon, and I'm a Scorpio, right? It's going to be an emotional new moon with it. And very root felt, I got to leave those things alone and continue to move on. In the shadow card here, there you go. The Knight of Kings, what I say. The moon going to be in Scorpio. So it's going to be an emotional journey. The truth is coming out. Even if it's like some vibes, some feelings there. If I'm done with it, I got to be done with it. So I need to be prepared. And look at the shadow card. The next one is the 8 of Pentacles. Okay? So this is the decision making. This is like, what did you say? Is all of that's going to come up by the time the new moon is in. It's going to question you on your determination. Yep, look at there. The 10 of Candles. Okay? That's the 10 of Swords. It's a wrap. And then what? Got the Strength card. So for anybody else who's going through this is just a way to go through the self-evaluation of it all. And figure out how you cope through yours. Pay attention and understand the difference of our spirituality levels that's here and how we could tap into our spiritual side. Stay focused with it, no matter which way. This is just one example of what I'm going through right now. Okay. This is just one example. I have many other levels of karmic energy that's going through. But this I felt is very important because learning the difference and respecting yourself and in your Trinity state, even when it comes to understanding the Tesla Code 369, this Trinity state of your shadow self, mirror self, and reality self is very important as we progress through our digital world, as we progress through our intellectual and our heightened sensory possession, talent that we have. All right. So what is our overall message here? I have a 2-card overall closing message here. Okay, I have one. So far, what came out. Oh, we have the 8 of Pentacles coming out. This is so pretty. Look at there. And what is that? The Virgo symbol. See what I'm saying? This is the new moon. This is this moon energy we at. Virgo was putting that effort in. Think about your shadow side. Your shadow side is very much at work. It's doing many of things. So when you're having things that feel like you're having a negative conversation, embrace that. Be like, hold on. You busy, ain't you, shadow? You busy. Alright, I'm going to try to work on this. I'm going to try to stay in tune with these negative thoughts or these positive thoughts. Why am I feeling so giddy? Why am I feeling so high off of life right now? Man, I wish a motherfucker would while I'm feeling this way and you just slipped up and failed. Balance it out with this moon while we're going into it before I get to Scorpio, right? Understand your shadow self is at work. Understand where your mirror self is at work. And understand where your reality self is at work. And what's the last and final card for this message here? Couldn't get no more and better right there having Virgo come out. That is so sweet. And the 8 of Pentacles. I know I got a lot of confirmation that we're talking about this moon breakdown. No, I just want one card. That was 4. I didn't even have enough time on the clock to sit there and talk about all 4 of them. So can we just have one? You shot 2 out. So the 2 cards that shot out, we have the Wheel of Fortune. Look at Jupiter. Now, I was talking about Jupiter and that Gemini. And the other one we have that came out is the Hierophant in reverse. Okay. So we have Taurus. So what's going on with Uranus right now? Let's... I'm trying to see. I got it here. I just got to open up my phone from my other phone. Let me see something right now. Because who got Taurus? What's in Taurus? Uranus, I know for sure. That's it. Hold on 1 minute. Ah. Okay. So up inside of this genius, okay, so there we go. Uranus have, this is what this is, it's in reverse. Uranus have an opposition with Mercury too going on today. Yes, they do. It has an opposition today going on with Mercury. And on November the 1st, Uranus will still have an opposition with Mercury. at 3 degrees 5 seconds. So that's also something to consider. So that, you know, I guess that's what I'm talking about, the highs and the lows that's within the flux of it, because the Hierophant came out reversed. So Uranus is in opposition with Mercury. So this is a little bit of it with Uranus, you know. And with the Wheel of Fortune, we have Jupiter, and it's in Gemini. So, and then the shadow card here is the Queen of Wands. Manifestation. Manifestation. Your desires. Making sure everything is there. So, the moon going to be at 15 degrees, 49 seconds in Scorpio. Alright, y'all. We got 15 degrees of it. Well, I hope you enjoyed this message, and I hope it helped you out on your journey.